Now, before we talk about any of the specific people that were involved with the Industrial Revolution, there are terms that are thrown out there, and I think we need to clarify this. I prefer to call them industrialists. I think it's about as neutral as you can refer to these people. But they also are referred to very commonly either as robber barons or, and that's a very negative sense, or in a very positive sense, they're called captains of industry. Well, what were they? Were they robber barons or were they captains of industry? You really can make the argument that the men that we're going to talk about really were both. You could say they're robber barons or you could say that they're captains of industry. Let's get a little working definition here. The robber barons, this is an American capitalist who during the Industrial Revolution, or a capitalist is a business person, who during the Industrial Revolution became extremely wealthy. And how they got this wealth was by exploiting or taking advantage of their workers, also by taking natural resources at a very unfair price, much below market price, and having laws passed by the government that will hurt the masses, hurt the people, but ultimately allow that person and his company to profit, and to profit at an incredible rate. It's a dishonest or an unethical person. That is a robber baron. And you could make the point that all the four that we're going to talk about truly are robber barons. In the same sense, you could also make the case that these people were not robber barons. They were the captains of industry. This is a very positive outlook on them. This is a business person who has risen to the top of their industry, not just the top of their business and running a business, but the very top of their industry. They're running their business better than any other business in their industry. They've done this by using smart business practices and ultimately beating out their competition. They have redefined what it means to be successful, and they are absolutely the rock stars and the superstars of business. You can decide what you think if these men ultimately were robber barons or captains of industry. I prefer to call them industrialists. It's about as neutral of a term as you can use. And the four that we're going to focus on is Andrew Carnegie. He's in the upper left. He got his fortune through the steel industry. Henry Ford, he's in the upper right. Of course, we know him through the Ford Motor Company for automobiles. Cornelius Vanderbilt, he's on the bottom left, and he had a tremendous fortune and tremendous political power. Even though he wasn't an elected official, he had tremendous influence over the government. He got his money through railroads. And then lastly, we're going to talk about John Rockefeller, and he's on the bottom right. And again, just a tremendous fortune that he was able to amass over his lifetime, and he got his money through oil. So you'll decide whether they were robber barons, whether they were captains of industry, or ultimately, like me, were they just industrialists.